Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures Daily Dose of Nature. Today's topic, the 5 senses on safari, presented by NatHab Expedition Leader Arpita Dutta. I'm your host, Rob Mess. Thank you all so much for being here with us today. Over to you, Arpita.
Thank you so much, Rob, and thank you everyone for tuning in today. I can tell you that every time I present, I'm very happy. And right now in India, it is 1:30 a.m. And imagine I'm as energetic, as excited a person can be in the morning, because whenever it comes to wildlife safari, this engagement, the entire exercise, they keep pumping like energy in me. And I hope I'll be able to deliver the same with all of you. And whenever I think of the forest, I close my eyes and I feel like when I'm in a room, like the concrete, the concrete surrounding. Sometimes I feel that, okay, I close my eyes, I see the beautiful lush grassland and the forest, I see these colorful birds and everything. I close my eyes. So it's like my senses brings all the happiness I needed that point of time to get that energy that, oh gosh, another few days I will be out in the forest. So yeah, those things are there. So imagine while sitting at one place and thinking about it, or visualizing that imagination and listening to few things, I think our senses works great. And not only for something we love, and it's not only the connection we build with that, and I think we build a connection with all our senses. So it's more like, so I thought that I'll present this like on a safari. We go, right? We travel all around the world, and I'm sure that you all have been to many different places. But there is a huge thing that how we connect ourselves with the nature, because when we are inside the forest, everything comes, like every information comes from the nature. We just need to know that what to pick up and how to pick up. So these things matters a lot on a safari, to be the team. So especially I'm featuring mostly the Grand India Grand India like trip, because if you have visited or if you want to visit, you can relate with the thing. And these are one of the 3 topmost national park I love personally. So I thought that it would be amazing to share this one with all of you. So when we talk about India, definitely it's a thing that we think about this majestic cat. But the forest, and once you step in the national park, you understand and you actually see a lot of things. It's not only that you come in and you get to see the tiger, because the national park system in India, the protected area system in India is very different than what we see in Africa. And because it is not very open, it doesn't have a savanna that you from a distance you can actually know the animals, or you can communicate with the other who are far away or been spotted with the animal and you can get there. So those things doesn't happen here. So you need to have or you need to know the tricks, or you need to know about the forest, about the animals, and the particular park habitat, to know about that, where and how to see the tiger. And it's definitely a lot of hard work behind it. And then you definitely come across the majestic cat. And slowly I'll say that why is it so much fun to search for the animals in these kind of parks, and what you need to do, what you need to develop for that. So we are out on a safari. You can see that's a it's a dust, it's just mud, and especially happens in winter and in summer when it's become dry. So, and don't worry, it's not like always like that. It's only when there is a rush, or definitely when we come out or go, and we definitely keep a distance so that we don't get that dust or the mud bath. But anyway, that is a different thing, but that is also another kind of an experience, you know, the adventure trip. But yes, so this is how the safari looks like. It's an open vehicle. You get to see, you get to like look around everywhere and see the forest patch. I mean, it's everywhere. It's a thick forest out there. And with that, sorry, with that, so when we enter the forest, you know, first thing we have, okay, we see the tiger, or okay, maybe the tiger would come like this, or it will pass by, or maybe we would see the elephant, the Asian elephant like this, or maybe the rhinos. Are we going to see the rhino? I mean, so many things just keep our neuron busy, you know. But I always say that when you enter, keep a blank space, you know, because you're gonna take a lot of thing, a lot of information. It needs to decode everything. And the more you keep the space blank, the more you get to see the animals and birds and anything, whatever is happening in front of you, because then there is no picture in your mind. It's just all clean, and anything clean you can imagine, you can draw, you can do so much thing into that clean canvas. So yeah, so from that blank space, when you enter, first thing what you need to see is what to look for. I mean, when you get inside the forest, definitely in the briefing, we talk about the kind of animals we get to see in the forest. And then you know that what to look for, how to spot, and what you need to listen, and how to understand, and where to look for. All these things should be in your mind. Like this, these are the things, this is the main point when we enter inside the park. And these are the highlighted points where you need to focus, like what all are happening around, to give the access to your brain so that you get to know better. And so for this, I'm just what to look for is just giving an example. If you see all this deer, look, everybody's looking on that side, right, on the right side, and you see all their tail are up, so something they're feeling threatened about it. So they're quite attentive, like attention mode they are in. And suppose, look at this. I mean, it's well camouflaged, like how to spot. Okay, I'll come down how you can spot it. So look at this tree, how it is, and it is so difficult with a new eye. Like where would you see? Even the bird is there, the owl is there, and look at this langur. Okay, so maybe it could be a territorial fight, or it's giving out an alarm call. And what to understand. So if we see a carcass like this, so we know like how much the carcass have been fed, or it's been eaten, or the way it has been eaten. It can say a lot of things about the predator, and could be there are other animals around, and definitely where to look for. Suppose we see the pug marks. This is a tiger pug mark. This is an old one though over here. So by looking at the fresh tracks, we get to know whether it's a male or a female. Mostly if it's small, like it's a young one, or a big, like an adult, or which way it has gone, how fresh it is. These are like, you know, like all cues are there. And you just need to, it's just like the treasure hunt. You know, this is how you feel it, this is how you understand it. So with this first thing, and what we need to know is the habitat, which is very, very important. Like habitat information is so crucial. for finding animals, because every animal have their specific environment, and we have to know the species distribution as well, because every species has their preferred habitat, and they have their ecological niche. Each species occupies a specific ecological niche, and like with an ecosystem. Like if we see the water body, we can see the kind of animals could be there, right? Maybe a turtle or some water birds, some the grass which are around. A deer can come there, they can feed on that. A lot of dragonflies can be there. So all these otters can be there. So all these things, like a habitat study is very important, because every habitat is built, or rather I would say the animal choose to be in those kind of habitats. So it's like we understand the behavioral pattern of that animal, you know and the knowledge, and it gives the knowledge, which we use to predict the movement of the animal, the activities of that particular animal. Maybe it's an afternoon time, or it's a sunny afternoon, so any animal might come to drink water. So which are the animals around, which are the hoof marks we have seen there around. So all this thing, a habitat describes a lot of thing about the animals. And of course, not only for wildlife viewing, but to knowing a proper habitat, knowing the habitat properly actually helps in conservation planning. Because once you know it, you know exactly which are the animals there, and you can calculate that how and what to plan for. So those things are there, conservation planning is there. Then we have this camera trapping, can be done by understanding the habitat. And of course, if you any habitat, there are like from smaller creature to bigger animals, you can take up notes, you can make your own checklist just by knowing this is the place where all these animals can come, and you can actually keep noting down their behavior, and you can participate in the citizen science. So yeah, habitat says a lot of things. And of course, the habitat information serves as like valuable tool for locating and studying animals. This is definitely a very important thing. So for example, understanding a habitat. So when we in Grand India, we go to Kaziranga National Park, where we have the highest number of greater one-horn rhino. So there we have huge grasslands, and even the grasses are pretty tall, like some grow up to 16 to 17 feet. So you can imagine those kind of grassland. So we know this is the grassland, this is the habitat where the rhinos live, and then we know the distribution is there. And then we have some informations which we get from there, which shows that okay, the rhino must be around. So a lot of things are there. And from the first, I would say, the 3 national parks we do, every park, the first safari, if you understand the habitat, and trust me, from the second safari you will be able to spot, and you will be able to understand or anticipate the things that what can be done. So or what is about to see, we are about to see, or what animal can be there. So of course, in this grassland, it's difficult to find a different animal out there. But yeah, for the rhino, this kind of an habitat would be there. And then definitely we have our this tiger. So for this, we might, you see, this is a small patch of grassland. It's a meadow, and we have this huge sal forest, which is a moist deciduous forest we have in Kanha National Park. So here is a thing. So imagine if you know the habitat, if you understand it. So every time they use a patch of forest and the grassland to get to the other patch of forest. So this is like a corridor for them. So, and if you know it, you just, and you listen and you understand that what nature, what's the forest is trying to tell you, it becomes easier to spot, it becomes easier to understand. So these are the habitat of a tiger. It's for the forest as well as in the grassland. And of course, with that, we have important animals out there, which is, this is a spotted deer and a langur. Together they are relaxed. So by this, we know it's a habitat, and in this habitat, we see these animals, how they are performing, how their behavior is. And with that, we can say that they are relaxed. The langurs are sitting quite like chilled. Even the deer is like pulling those small sticks to have those young leaves. Even the tail is touching almost its head. So yeah, so all these things shows that the area around the area, it's very calm and composed. But you never know, because tiger is an ambush predator. So never think that there couldn't be, unless and until they are giving out some alarm calls and all, there couldn't be. So anything can happen in the forest. So just having patience and staying there for a while and see what they're doing, that's a definite fun, I would say. Yeah. So with that, another thing, so whenever we are looking through a water patch area where there are dry logs and all, especially in winter, we see all these turtles there's a basking. They are on the like log and stretching their limbs in a very funny way. And they are trying to bask to get as much as sun they can to warm up their body. So yeah, these are the things we can look for around. So even if you see there are many water holes or ponds are there, lakes are there inside the national park. So take up your binocular, look every corners where there are some logs in the water and like half submerged. And if you look through, you might get to see another species over there. So, and imagine any water body is in our close proximity. Any water body can actually show us a lot of things. So over here, you see how habitat is important. So you stand here, you see so much of activities. It's not only to see the animals, it's about seeing what they are doing. So imagine there is an egret out here, of course, getting for small fish and some insects from there. And here is a hard ground barasinger where we get to see only in Kanha. And here is a fish eagle. So imagine over here we see all the activities out there, and I couldn't get the other picture. I mean, I have it, but it's very blur. So when the eagle was passing there, the deer, the barasingha, actually looked up and it moved its head, just like watching the eagle flying above it. So it was funny that even they notice, how somebody is passing by and we just turn around and say, oh wow, that's a handsome man. So it's almost like that. It's so funny, if you can voice this animal, I think that's the funniest part of it, and we enjoy the trip so much, with our thoughts. So yeah. So these are so much interesting things. So even if it's a big water body, you can see ospreys out there, and sometimes we get to see them hunting. And imagine how osprey is one of my favorites, because how they catch their prey and how they hold them in between their talons is just outstanding. So yeah, you get amazing opportunities near the water bodies to have some good pictures if you are interested in photography as well. So with that, and what you look for, never think that it's a forest, we cannot see something, because in that forest there are thousands of animals like moving here and there. So imagine in the thick forest, even if you peep, if you get a small window, you might get to see this beautiful greater racketal rongo. You know, they are the master mimicker, not like the lyrebird in Australia, but they can almost mimic 47 to 48 calls. In and around the forest, whichever is happening. So yeah, for us, they are like the lyrebird. They are master mimicker. And if you see this, look at this langur. They are always entertainer. I think in the forest, they are like Jim Carrey. You know, always you look at them and they are always funny. And it's so difficult to stay quiet, looking at their idiocy. And sometimes they are sitting down with an yoga pose, and like pulling each other's leg, or sometimes tail. So yeah, it's fun to watch them around there. So yeah, and of course this deer you see here. So yeah, this is the spotted deer, what we see. So yeah, these are the whole thing, and this is another like a good prey base for the predator as well. So yeah, with that, let's get down to our senses, like how it works. We know all about the taste, hear, smell, sight, and touch, right? These are the all five senses. How we go like improve it. Definitely for us, we don't listen to very loud musics, or where there are very loud noises. We avoid those areas, because you know our hearing has to be perfect, and after so many years, it's very difficult for us to even live in a crowded place, because it disturbs really our hearing. Touch, of course, when you understand the heat, moisture in the air. The sight, of course, what we see. Smell, I personally don't use any kind of cream which has odor, or like fragrance, or no deos or perfume I don't use. So it builds your like all the receptors really active, you know, to get any kind of small smell which helps. And taste, I don't know, I'm a big foodie, so of course it comes to the food, but most of the time I don't like take things from the forest to eat unless and until I know it. So yeah, but something always happen together, and we generally get to know from the forest. So what we about to see, most of the time it's the visual part, like whatever we are seeing, we see that, right? But there are like what we can see. If there is a shrub forest, if we see some movement out there, pick up your binocular, look at that area, that whether something is moving, and let me know. Sometimes it happens that we have seen, oh, stop the vehicle, we have seen something, but maybe it turned out to be a log. But trust me, it is more like sometimes that log could be a leopard, because after 2-3 times we feel, oh gosh, maybe another log, or maybe another leaf litter. But never, even if you feel 10 times, 20 times that you have seen something, it's better to stop and confirm that it is that, because animals know how to disguise, you know, because they are so well camouflaged that it's so difficult in that kind of a forest patch to see them. And now what do we see? You see over here, this is a rhino. This is a rhino footprint. This is an elephant footprint, and this is a tiger footprint. And this is a tiger footprint, and you see these two lines are going. These are the turtle footprints over there. So imagine in the same place there are so many animals are there, right? So you know which are the animals have already walked in that area. So you don't see directly, but you see their presence out there. So here is the same. It's a jackal, like canid, any canid. You can see the nails over there. Again, it's a tiger, and these are the scratch marks of the tiger. Like, you know, they hold the tree trunk and they pull it. So this is how deep marking they make. This This you can, if you know, this is done by a porcupine. You can see their incisors, I mean, the teeth marking out there. So when you see a freshly chiseled bark, then you know the porcupine is there. So this is how you actually connect the dots. Even from a distance, we see this could be a gal of the tree, but when you come close, you see so many squirrels are tucked together to warm themselves up. So yeah, these are smaller things, you know, what we can actually see. Over here, one thing, if you can see a footprint over here and here, if anyone can guess what it is, I'm giving like 2 seconds for it. So to give you a better look, this is yeah, this is the footprint here, and this is another footprint. So yeah, this is the one. It's a sloth bear, and we got some fresh tracks, because you see, how would you understand this is a fresh track? Okay, over here you can see the marking of the tire, right? The vehicle has passed. So before the vehicle has passed, and then we have some footprints on that vehicle track. So that means, because in the morning and afternoon we have drives, and if it's early in the morning, so we know that in the morning it has passed, or it's in the same time. If you're repeating on that same area, and if you get to see that, you should know that, okay, the animals is around us. So these are few things which, how we know that it's a fresh track. And of course there are other elements for which we know that. But imagine this was a fresh track, we got to see it. And then can you imagine, I mean, can you understand which is this footprint? Let me tell you, if you see the sand, or if you see it's a mud flat. So on the mud flat, there are some finger-like impression out there. So when you see that, and then you look around, try to figure out, try to listen, we find some otters. So that is, I think this is how we see something, then we figure out and we track. It's easy, it becomes easier to track the animals. Same goes with the bigger ones. You see, this is a maiden created by the rhinos. You know, the rhino drop at the same place again and again. This is like a marking, their territory marking. And move ahead and you get to see the rhino right there. So yeah, these things. And of course, in those strings on the ground, we know there are a lot of other stuffs as well, rather than the bigger animals. So we see, when we take a walk in and around the lodge we are staying, because they have beautiful forest patches around. So you see this, look at these ants, I mean, where they are going, what they are doing, and understanding how they are communicating with each other. And when you see a dead, like a shaded, molted, like white thing, like snake skin, so you know the snakes are around you. So yeah, so it's not only about the species, it's about also the secondary information we receive from nature to know the existence of that animal. So in Kanha, Bandhavgarh, you will get a lot of termite mounds. And if you see some termite mounds are disturbed, and you would know the scraping marks and all of the claw, then you know that has been invaded by a sloth bear, because that is kind of a staple food for them. These are the antlion. So the antlion is an insect, and their larva stays in, and they make a dead pool. You know, any on a walk, especially, I love to see it, because they have one of the strongest jaw, and anything which is passing by, they drop in and they keep on crawling, and the more they try to crawl out, the more they go in. And sometimes even I put some, you know, sand granules, and you can, the larva comes out just to peep in that what is there. So yeah, so these are the really fun we come across just by looking at it, just by observing the things that, okay, this could be there. There are so many stories, lying there behind all this. And then of course, our hearing, we listen to it. Even in the forest, it's difficult because as I mentioned, that the forest is thick, and we have few tracks only. We can move around. Only 20% of the forest is given for tourism, but mostly animal movement, what you see is in the tourism area, because in the core area, which is not non-tourism area, even if you go there, it is very difficult to see the animals, because they don't get they are very shy or scared, so they don't come. They don't come near you. So these are the things. But for listening, even the bird calls, whether you get to hear an elephant or a rhino, is like a fighting a pair of rhino, you can get to hear and you can say that what exactly is happening. I still remember, so the memory, it's so fresh, that in Chitwa National Park, we could hear the two rhino is fighting, and they get us call like there's a grunting sound, and the one which is losing, or while with the grunting, they have a this kind of sound they make, and they are fighting. And after that, we heard it from a distance, and then we saw some, and we could figure out that this is from which side, or from which area that a sound was coming. And after a while, we could figure out that sound is coming towards us. And then at a distance, we saw a cloud of dust. I mean, you can imagine, they are like bulldozers, and they are fighting. So they were like cloud of dust. And after a while, we could feel that, the trembling of the land. And our vehicle was in the middle of the track. And this two came in, and because the vehicle is big, they both stood and just looked at the vehicle, and everybody was quiet, thankfully. And it just looked, and then it turned around, and they just went back by running, like making that grunting sound. So imagine, from listening of their grunting, then seeing the cloud of dust, feel of that vibration on the ground, and then you see it. So it's a long thing, in the forest. You start listening to them. You might not see a tiger fighting every time, but you get to hear them if they're in a close proximity. So all these things are there. I have I don't know whether can we play this? Oh no. Oh, okay, sorry. I don't know. This is not playing. Okay, so this is a hard ground barasinger. So when it's their rutting season, and they make a wonderful musical tune, like like this. And imagine 2-3 are doing at the same time, even sometime at night. It won't surprise you that, okay, this is like to give a call that I'm ready, or this is my territory, this is how things go. And here the same thing. I'm sorry, the audios are not working. Same, I don't know, even I don't think so the audio is working. Over here, the picture, what you see is the alarm call of the langur. So the alarm call of the langur. So in a forest, we see the langurs definitely, but how would you listen to it? Just be quiet, and you will understand. All the vehicles over there would be as quiet as possible, and everybody would be like like a pin drop silence, and from a distance, maybe sometimes you hear like, I'm sorry, like it's like this. It's a coughing sound of like this. Okay, I don't know. My neighbors must be thinking that I'm crazy at 2 a.m. at night. I'm doing all this sound. So these are the things. And the spotted deer makes alarm call like, when you hear all this, you know that, okay, the predator is around. So all this together work, and the more you hear, the more you listen, the more you see, the more you can predict that, okay, the predator is around or something is happening. There is so much momentum around the forest, and these are the senses which really works like well. So I said the first safari, and after that you would understand everything. And I think we need a team in this kind of a forest to look for animals. It's not a single person job, definitely. And it's so much fun to work together for all this for all these animals, to see them. And of course, one of my favorite, not one of my favorite, rather I would say, in the Northeast, they are like my one of the most favorite after the elephants, definitely, and my reptiles. So these are the hula gibbon, the one and only ape in India. So we generally go out somewhere to see them. There lives a family out there, and in the morning, as soon as the sun shines, like it touches the top canopy, and you then get to hear them, and the female initiates the call, and it's like ooh, and it seems like the whole forest is echoing, their voice, and it's wonderful to hearing them. So yeah, that's the thing. And you locate the sound, and you start moving towards it, either walking or by the by vehicle. These all are open vehicles everywhere. So you move there, and you keep an eye on above to see that look for the gibbons, and they mostly stay in the top canopy. So yeah, by listening, you can actually reach to the animals. The gibbons are very loud, but I cannot do that. I'm unable to do that. I'm like literally hesitating to do that, but it's really fun. It's really fun. So for that, and the nose, of course, I have a tiny nose though, but the smelling thing has, I think it works really well for me. So every animals leave their, like they mostly, communicate with the chemical information. So they urinate, they put scat, they do scratches. A lot of things are there which actually tells us the presence of the animals, or which animal is there, or if you can smell a carcass. So imagine if there are elephants around, you will get a very musty smell. So if you are here, then once you get the smell, then whoever the leader is, they can actually narrate you the smell. The next time you remember that, and you know that the elephant is around. The tiger, of course, if you get to smell the fresh marking, it's like so pungent that once it hits you, you will never forget the smell of it. Imagine your cat, a male, if it is doing marking, you can imagine the stinky smell it gets. So just double it up with a lot more like strong smell. So that's the tiger smell. Even the carcass, the smell of the carcass, it actually, if it is coming through, like from the wind, you know where the carcass is. If you can figure out that there it is, and if you can go there in that side, if it is allowed to go there in that side, so you can actually stop near the carcass and see the position or the condition of the carcass, that whether how much meat is left and stuff, because the animal would be coming at the same place to feed the rest of it. So here you can find that here the carcass is almost done, and here is a mongoose, which is like standing up ahead and looking at us to see that what is there around. So yeah, and one day, even with the NHA trip only, our Grand India, I remember that we have been passing one area, and suddenly that wind, with the breeze, I got to smell the carcass, and we moved ahead. Then I asked my driver to go back, and we went back, and then I couldn't smell it anymore, but was standing there where exactly I got that that smell. And we were quiet, to understand, and I was trying to figure out that somewhere I got the smell. And trust me, after 2-3 minutes, we got to hear a tiger, like, oh, this sound. And that was amazing because, you know, you get to see a tiger. Most of the time you see a tiger, but listening, but hearing a tiger growl, that's awesome, because they are very quiet, silent, because they have to take very calculative step for, you know, not to get involved in a territorial fight, or to go for the prey. So they are very quiet most of the time. So hearing them was amazing. Was, I think, was an awesome feeling altogether in the forest. So imagine there was a dhole, that's a wild dog. It's just pooping on the middle of the road. So this is how to do it. So by the smell you can actually get it, that how and which animals have done it. So yeah, with the smell, and of course with the touch, there are a lot of things with the touch. Not only this is a touch me not plant, and I still play with it because I love when, you know, you give a small touch, they will close only the leaves. Then if it's a little hard touch, then it will start wilting down. So it's a step-by-step thing, and I still play like a step-by-step stuff. It's really amazing every time. And maybe after again 15-20 minutes, they are back to, or sometimes half an hour, maybe they are back to again in their normal position. So yeah, it's more like you feel the air, that how much moisture is there in the air. So you feel that you know, that whether it's rainy or cloudy, it's dry. So we feel that, right? Not even in the forest, even in your area, that is very often. And the touch of life. I think when you hug a tree, I'm a big hugger, not only for the trees, for the human as well. So it's like you connect with your feelings, right? And when I hug a tree, I sometimes I hug a tree for a longer period of time, and it seems like I close my eyes and I can feel that so much of life and so much of things happens that time. So I'm sure that many of you have done it or still do it. But it's a feeling altogether, right? And of course, in the mud, you see the soil, the moisture is there. Even imagine, even in a dry area, if you see a little patch which is little wet, or have a little moist, then actually you can go down. I mean, we cannot get down, but if it's not a protected area, if you get to see this, and if you just take the soil in your hand, if you smell it, and if you get some stinky smell, so you actually know that if any animal has peed over there or not, to do their territory marking or stuff. So many things are there, because even tiger, they poop, and they, you know, just like the cat, they push the mud on top of it to hide it sometime. And of course, the feel, the refreshing, the freshness, it's rain or it's water, you just touch it, and I think it's just like you know, antidotes of toxic environment, I think, like detoxifying or everything. So yeah, and understanding the behavior is important. I mean, when all these senses are working, I mean, when you know that which are the senses and where and how to project that, and then it comes to understanding their behavior. When we see all the langurs are sitting at the same place on the ground, and relaxed, and you know that this behavior shows that, okay, they are in a secure place and they are having their own meeting. Conferences are going on, so we don't disturb them, but we see that, okay, nothing is around. So this is how we get to know that, okay, how their behavior is. And then of course we get to see some other animals. So over here you see, for example, these are just examples. So here there are jackals, and you just, it's normal, right, to see a jackal. But look at it. I mean, it's a little curious. I mean, look at this. Its head is bended towards the right, and it's somewhere it is looking very straight. right? And then one went inside, and we got to see that, look at this, it's actually a carcass, and they might have stole it from the main portion of the carcass, and they drag it here, and they know that where it is kept, and see, it's again dragging it to keep it somewhere else. So just by looking at them, oh wow, that's a jackal, okay, fine, it's done. No, it's not done. When we start understanding their behavior, we know, okay, something is cooking, like something is there. You stop for a while, we watch it, like, okay, just see the movement, and you see, this is wonderful. I mean, because this kill is not done by them, so they have stole it, and they are amazing thieves, let me tell you, and very opportunistic animals they are. So this is what we ended up seeing. And again, like, you know, any big movement, what we have seen, and we know that this is the behavior. Like, we have seen this hornbill. This was a female, the one which is which is perched here, and we have been, this male, generally when they perch, they would start preening themselves, or they will stop. This female have been like looking here and there, and it was down, and then they hop on the upper branch, and it was moving its head in such a way, maybe it is waiting for somebody, and of course that somebody has to be the other pair, like other individual of the pair, as a male. So the female came here first, and the male is as usual following the female. And then we ended up seeing two hornbills together, and then the two coughed together. So this is before the nesting season. So they actually engaged in a big courtship time. The hornbills. It's amazing to see their courtship. And then of course when we see that, you know, their behavior, like the bird, this is a trogon. It's very difficult to see, one of the rarest sighting, I would say, for Kaziranga National Park. But if you know the behavior, they love to swing, or they would stay you know, somewhere which is dangling and stuff. So this is the bird. Look at this beautiful bird, huh? So this red-headed trogon, I mean, if you know that their behavior is to be in this type of branches or this type of forest. So if you look through their that area, in those kind of areas, you never know, you might come across this bird too. So this is by the behavior, okay, because this kind of forest is everywhere, but where you see the swinging twigs and all, so you can get a point that, okay, with the behavior, this kind of a bird can be there. There are a few more birds like white ram shama and all, which is an amazing singer of this park. And okay, so wait a minute, oops, yeah. So for the next is look at this. This is a fig tree, and look at this, these are honeycombs, okay. And see, this tree is full of honeycombs, and over here there are some raptors which are moving around this area. So if you see this, and if you see some, wait for a while, because you never know, a honey buzzard can come down, and this is the oriental honey buzzard, and they can come down. You can see the full thing, that how they, which has full of bees, and how they manage to actually get you know, a portion of the beehive from the branch in the ground, or sometimes flew away through it. But of course we have to maintain a very safe distance. So you can imagine, if the beehive gets disturbed, that what can happen. So yeah, safety is the first thing to do, but with binocular we can really enjoy the sighting. And with all these senses and behavior, understanding the behavior, like anticipating their behavior. And by anticipating, that the study of the habitat, the seasonal pattern, time of the day, weather condition, track signs, using your binoculars, and be patient and quiet, understanding the animal's behavior, the body language, you can actually come out with a lot of stories and a lot of sightings. But with that, another few things in the forest, we know these are again only a few example, which is the messenger of summer, which is a common hawk cuckoo. When they start calling, that means the summer is approaching. This is a Jacobin's cuckoo. That means when this one starts calling, it knows that the monsoon is arriving. And by all this, we know, and this is the winter herald, the greenish warbler. So when we get to hear it, we know, okay, winter, because they are the five first residential migrants which come to those parks. And we know that, okay, this is the winter is already here. And the globe skimmer, when they come down more towards the ground, when all of them, most of the thing, they come towards the ground, we know that it might rain, because they feed on insects, and when it rains, the insects come up and they feed on it, so they come very low to the ground. And of course, though we don't get to see any croc during this Grand India trip, but just an example of it, that that when you see that a croc is not moving around that area or not going far away, and it is the nesting season and all, this is the indication that maybe it has already done its nest. So especially this is a saltwater crocodile. They are the only crocodile which build a nest like this, like they gather the vegetation and they make a mound to build the nest. So yeah, these are the thing which happens. And imagine when all the senses work, because this is one of the sighting, like we have all, like we get to hear it, we got to see few animals running around, and then we waited almost for 40 minutes at that same place, because there were alarm calls were happening. They were not stopping. We could see few langurs are jumping from the one canopy to another canopy, and the spotted deer were calling from somewhere. And slowly that call was moving towards us. So we know that, okay, the animal is on move, and we got to see this tiger. Imagine this is our vehicle, and here is the tiger. So yeah, after 40 minutes of waiting patiently and understanding, decoding nature's information, and we got to see this. And sometimes above all the senses is our intuition, or the sixth sense. It works. I won't forget this one. Imagine we have amazing sightings throughout the safari. This is in Kanha, and the rest of the team, the rest of the people in the team, they said, okay, because we had only 1.5 hours drive, 1.5, 2 hours of drive in the morning. So they said, okay, for 2 hours, waking up early, and again, it's better to take rest. You can do that, definitely. But these two ladies, and I'm always up for to be in the forest. So we three thought, okay, we will take. I mean, it's even if you don't see anything, that's absolutely fine, because by then, understanding the forest was becoming more fun than just seeing the animals. So we came out, and trust me, we were the only vehicle. We got to see the tiger for 1 hour and head on. And she's one of my favorite female in Kanha. So she had been walking towards us, and we have been backing our vehicle, and she has been marking her territory and all these things. I mean, she had been sniffing, marking, scratching, all these things she was doing. And we were the only three, and our driver and the guide was there to witness that. I mean, imagine how amazing it is. Thankfully, our intuition and our sixth sense worked that morning, that, okay, even if it's for 1 hour, it's better to spend that 1 hour in the forest. So rather than, so I would say that, of course, with all the senses brings together, always keep up your intuitions and sixth sense, and feel so happy being in the forest. And I always say that the more you involve, or the more you accept the way the forest is showing you, Mother Nature will never disappoint you, your visit. That's something is very, very true. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed, and not only for Grand India, I think these senses, gradually you can pick up all senses even at your backyard. That also happens, So if you develop this, that really, really helps in any of the safari you go, wherever you go. Thank you so much. And Rob, I'm ready to take up questions.
All right, thank you, Arpita. Now, if there are any questions, you can submit your questions via the question field in your control panel. Lots of comments today. Love your webinar. We do have one question. You showed a slide with 3 animals on it. This was back before the 5 senses slide. And our guest wanted to know what the middle animal is holding. Is it a langur?
3 animals. It's before that. Oh, this one. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's a coconut. The husk of the coconut. Yeah.
Aha. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't look like we have.
Was thinking.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Because it was actually thinking right now our vehicle stopped over there. So this is before we went inside the forest. So we have some small temples, and people come there to offer something to the god. So a coconut has been offered, and this langur has taken it. And then when our vehicle stopped to see what it is doing with it, and it was showing that teeth to us that, okay, I'll fight you if you want to take that coconut from me. So it was actually all this conversation was happening between him and myself, I guess. So yeah, it was funny. Yeah. Sorry.
Thank you so much for sharing that story. That's hysterical. Well, unfortunately, that's going to be the only question that we do have for today. So I'm going to throw it back to you for some closing comments.
Well, thank you so much, Rob. You hosted so nicely. And thank you so much, everyone, for listening to me. And I always enjoy, imagine, it's always fun. And I hope someday I'll see you all somewhere in the world, some part of the world, and have a great week ahead, and stay good. Thank you.
Arpita, thank you so much for taking the time to present for us today. And I'd also like to thank everyone who tuned in today. Now, if you are interested in information on how you could travel with NatHab, give us a call at the number on your screen, or you could send us an email at info@nathab.com. Our adventure specialists are happy to help you out. Join us tomorrow for our next Daily Dose of Nature. You can check out this week's lineup, including our registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, I will conclude today's webinar. Goodbye, everybody. We will see you next time.